it's Ashley here. I do apologize, I'm a minute late, but I hope to see everyone pop on here soon. I am really excited to be channeling tonight because we have a special guest, Leonardo Da Vinci. He is someone that I've always been fascinated with as a person, like a historical person. And sorry, I gotta put some chapstick on. He's just a really cool person, and I'm so excited to be channeling him because why not? He's this genius person, you know, inventor, artist, person who just has captured our imagination for a long time since he has been here on Earth as Leonardo da Vinci. And I thought it would be really fun to catch up with him, see what he's doing now on the other side, or maybe he's incarnated, I don't know, but channel him and get to hear what he has to say about maybe things that are going on right now. I have no idea what he's going to come in and say, but I just feel like it was just time to channel him. He's one person that I feel like I've been connected to, maybe not in this experience, not my experience right now, but maybe in other experiences, maybe on the other side, maybe not necessarily here on Earth, but he is just a fascinating person. And so I'm really excited to be chatting him up. I think it's going to be fun. I'm seeing people are now hopping on. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me here at Channeling with Love. So we're in the Facebook group Channeling with Love live right now. So if you're watching this later on, feel free to hop over to Facebook and look us up because it's a really fun place to hang out. And we got lots of really cool people. And you guys, I am always so impressed with the questions that you guys ask during these live events. And it's always so fascinating to hear what Spirit has to say in response to, you know, what you guys are going through or what you're wondering about. So today's not going to be any different. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the comments box, and I will try and get to as many as possible in today's event. And we are going to just have him come in here in a few. I want to give maybe another 20-30 seconds for a few more people to pop on. But yeah, happy Friday Eve. So today is Thursday, and I'm really excited for the weekend. I have no plans really, which I'm excited about. The Starseed class that happened a few weeks ago really it tapped me out. I was very tired, or I have been very tired since then, but it was an amazing experience. So it was really definitely worth it. But I am excited to kind of take this last weekend to relax, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm hoping that there will be lots of more events that are coming our way here in Channeling with Love, and other events that I'm tinkering with and thinking about. Okay, so I think I've given quite a bit of time now, so I am just going to have him step on in. And if you guys are channeling along with me, feel free to call him in to also join you if you want to feel what Leonardo da Vinci's energy feels like. I have him in here now. He's right behind me on my left side, kind of in this area. And he's coming in to kind of right behind me as well. And I feel him coming in on my upper back, kind of in my neck and back area. It's getting really warm. He's coming in pretty strong, which I really appreciate. And he's just making me feel like he's got a twinkle in his eye. He kind of looks like the pictures that we've all seen of him, kind of the big beard, kind of longer hair. That's what he's presenting himself as to me. And he's got the twinkly eyes and a really big smile on his face. He's very happy to be here. He's saying, "You are correct. I'm very happy to be here with all of you who are here live, and those of you who will see me later or interact with this energy later." he's saying, as Leonardo da Vinci, as the being who has had that experience or came through as Leonardo da Vinci in a life experience many, many years ago within the context of Earth. He says it's so fascinating to see how his work and the energy that came through and everything that he did still is looked upon, still fascinating to people, still he's just kind of making me feel like he's just kind of amazed that people are still going on about it. Like kind of like you know, he's just kind of like, it is what it is, I guess. People are really fascinated by it, and he didn't really, he's saying in his life experience, he didn't really have the context as to how his actions would impact the world or the world to come, even in today's society. His work has influenced many other artists and inventors and people who like to create. And he says he was always focused on the creation, the action of creating, the action of expression. And there was just so much to he's showing, like tinkering, developing, observing, and capturing. His imagination was always running wild, and he's saying he hasn't lost that touch. His mind is, as you would say, in the clouds all the time. He has the curiosity and the passion in that experience. He had that, and he really feels like it was just kind of a stroke of those combinations with the time period that he was in, and he really was meant to be in that space and to, he's saying, interact with the energy that was there at the time, of many worlds, of the people, of the land, of the times. You know, it was a kind of a time of invention, of creation, of fantastical experiences. And I mean, it's still, he's saying, it's still here, that energy is still here, but it's just different now. We've moved in different directions as a society or a collective consciousness. And he just marvels at the things that we experience. He's showing me the airplane. He's just, from his perspective as Leonardo da Vinci, he's saying that the airplane was something that he knew was possible. He designed many sort of flying contraptions. There are some more famous or more consistently referenced than others, but he had this evolution of thought that he never really got to fully pursue or complete to the best of his ability or what he would want to have completed. And so as a spiritual being on the other side, he's just so thrilled. He's saying tickled pink. He's like tickled pink. He's one of those guys. He's just so tickled pink. He's so happy that the Wright brothers and you know, all of these inventors came together and really evolved air travel, or, you know, the possibility of flight. That was always something that he was really fascinated by. He's saying that with the times, and he's seeing a question here. Sorry, I don't see your name. I'm going to pull you up, though. Are there any hidden messages in his artwork? What would he invent today if he could? Where did he get his inspirations? Love you. Okay, so good questions. And he's pointing to the hidden messages questions first. And he's saying that in Of the Times, there were many messages designed, imbued into his artwork, into his inventions, into everything that he did. And he's kind of showing me the swirl of like scientific discovery and what he's saying is mysticism, magicalness that really sparked imagination and was really, it kind of spoke to the core essence of humans connecting with nature and not understanding everything, but starting to understand more and more as they observed the nature of humans themselves as well as the nature around them. And so there's kind of this element of like magic or mythical mysticism, something different, like a mystery, you know, it's kind of imbued in his work. And but also that scientific side of what is observable, how can we explain it, and what is connecting everything in all of us. And he didn't really have an understanding at the time. He was just so, he's saying, embroiled in the details that he didn't really see all of the energy and kind of the bigger picture for a lot of things. But he really did enjoy observing and pursuing that that knowledge through observation. And he's highlighting the man picture. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the man in the circle, and a lot of his anatomical drawings were really about observation. And he's saying also there's a lot of, you know, number sequences, numerology. There is some hidden messages. He's saying most have been discovered or reasoned out. Not necessarily, there's not really anything that hasn't been discovered or understood yet. So he's saying, you know, at the time it was very powerful work, but as we've progressed in our collective consciousness, we've kind of been able to pick up on a lot of his details and messages and the symbology that he kind of built into a lot of his work. And he's saying if he could invent something today, okay, he's showing me several things. He's showing me Nikola Tesla, and with the picture where he's kind of got like the hair's kind of going everywhere, and he's got the like electric ball thing in his hand. I don't know, some sort of meme I think that I've seen of Nikola Tesla, but that's the image he's calling up. And he's also showing me crystals and like more natural formations. He's saying conduits of energy, natural conduits. He would work with energy, and he's saying he really admired Nikola Tesla's work. And he admires Nikola Tesla, and they work together. And he's saying they kind of have this laboratory, like workshop space in the heaven dimension where they reside at this time, and they work with a lot of the like really, you know, heavy hitter inventors and artists and deep thinkers, the philosophers, and it's just kind of this school of exploration and excitement. And he's saying it's still about the pursuit of knowledge. Even though they're spirit, they still like to engage in those activities. It's very different there than it is here, of course, on Earth, but they still like to you know, do things that they like to do. So it's kind of like when we get over there, we can do our hobbies. We can, you know, build amazing houses and relax or sing or go to classes or do art or just go play with the dogs in the Heaven Dog Park, which I'm sure that's like one of my favorite places to go. I've actually had dreams about that place before, and it's so amazing. And yeah, it's just really fascinating. He's just showing like there's all these people that collect together, and they just really bond and have a good time. And yeah, that's what he's saying in reference to Nikola Tesla, and what he would work on here if he was here on Earth would be more about energy, which is fascinating. I feel like the science really is going in that direction. And there's just I think a lot of scientists and theoretical physicists and all these different fields that are kind of looking at energy and how it can impact us as humans and our experience and what it means to be here in relation and in context of that energy. That's what he's really highlighting for me. He's showing me like articles of scientists talking about energy work. So yeah, that's cool. And let's see, where did he get his inspirations? He's saying from observation of nature. So he's highlighting the flight concept. He had a lot of inventions, and he really did a deep study of birds and other principles of aviation, he's saying, through testing, throwing things off buildings, watching how they behave. Yeah, he's saying he did a lot of like scientific studies to see the art, to see how things move. He was really, he's saying, fascinated by how beings moved, whether that's humans or animals or plants or the wind, wind pushing the clouds. He's showing clouds, the waves in the ocean, and in rivers, just water in general. He's just always fascinated. He's always observing what was around him. That really inspired him. Okay. Wow, Heather, she's saying she just got on and her crown started going crazy. Yep, that's Leo, all right. He's coming in pretty strong, which is really fun. All right, another question here. What was his childhood like growing up? Did anyone inspire him? That's a good question. He's saying he was a precocious child. He probably was annoying to a lot of people around him because he was so observant and fascinated by, again, he's mentioning the details. He was very bogged down, and not bogged down, he was just really, he's saying like zeroed in on those details. And some people didn't really understand that. He had kind of a hard time fitting in. And he's saying he felt like the black sheep. And he's gesturing to us as a group. A lot of us feel like that as well. I know I have felt like that. And he's just saying that was, kind of the pervasive energy. But his role, his position, not position, but his life experience goals or mission was to really kind of break molds. He's saying he needed to have these experiences as Leonardo da Vinci to learn not only about the mechanics or, expressing through art or through invention or through science, but he's highlighting that he needed to feel kind of this creative energy and get it out and have the experience of kind of being on his own, kind of a standalone. He had friends, family he loved dearly, but he's showing he always felt like he was at a distance from everyone. And while that was hard, it was important for him to feel that. It was important for him to have that experience, to develop his own spiritual growth. And he's saying too, it kind of helped a little bit in allowing himself to be free of the expectations, I guess, of what people were holding him to or holding themselves to in that lifetime. People were very extremely religious at that time. And he's saying he had a connection with God, but it was not necessarily in that religious structure. He would go to church, but he's saying too, his heart wasn't in it. He more felt connected to source and in the flow of creation when he was in his work. And so as a child, it was kind of a rough experience for him, but once he was kind of able to move through his process and connect in the way he wanted to connect, his life got a little easier, and it was just a little bit more manageable. And once he was able to fully support himself, and he's showing like he was just more stable as time went on. Of course, I mean, you grow up and then you develop and you go out into the world. And in his experience, his family was quite capable of supporting him, but he needed to kind of go in his own direction. And he was able to do that by patronage, having commissioned work, and then also doing a lot of his inventing and pursuing science in this kind of artistic way. And he's saying he had a very blessed life overall. It's a good question. I'm asking you if there's anything that he would wish for us to pursue, or to really keep in mind, or wish for him to tell us. Is there anything that he wants to tell us, for us to be mindful of, or for us to pursue, I guess? I don't really have a solid question, but that's kind of capturing everything. He's saying yes, he wants, he's highlighting his experience and what he had just mentioned, his flow of creation, the flow, the energy. He wants all of us to try and experience that in whatever shape or form. He's saying that calls to you. He's showing like baking, or inventing, or drawing, or painting, or hiking. He's saying also spiritual pursuits, energy healing, channeling, writing. He's just kind of listing out all of these, like showing all of these different pictures of people doing these different activities, and being in the flow, and being one and connected, and really feeling that within ourselves, and feeling that alignment. And he's highlighting again Nikola Tesla and crystals and energy. And he's saying if you wish to pursue a scientific endeavor within your life, or understand more of the principles of the universe in a kind of hard science sort of way, he's highlighting energy work, and the flow of energy. And he's really showing, as we are connected to spirit, we can get a sense of that natural flow. And there's many other levels to it, but he's saying that this is a worthy pursuit. And again, he's kind of gesturing, I would be doing that if I were here in a human body right now. Really fascinating. Okay, so he's encouraging all of us to get creative, or to just go within and follow what makes us happy, and just do that and not worry about anything else. He's saying there's no need to stress. There's no need to. He's kind of showing, this is, I feel like I'm going to ask him to kind of hone this image in, because he's kind of showing this convoluted image of like a nest with eggs in it, and these, like, I don't know what kind of dinosaurs they are, but they're the winged dinosaurs with the big, like really long heads. And they're like protecting their nest, and they're like looking around, they're snapping at things that are coming close. And he's saying protecting resources. We don't really have to hoard or worry about not having enough, or worrying about protecting or building this kind of nest egg of he's kind of showing like toilet paper and foodstuffs and random things that we just end up collecting. He's saying don't worry about the more material possessions. Worry about not worry, but be intentional with the experiences that you wish to have, and be intentional with your energy. And he's really highlighting that this time for us is going to go by very fast. So not to worry about more of the little details. The bigger picture kind of items are going to be more important for us to focus on. Okay, that's pretty cool. That was a really kind of roundabout way to describe it, but I have a really good image of this, like a pterodactyl. That's what it is. The pterodactyl sitting there on a nest with like eggs and toilet paper and like random things, and just kind of snapping away at things that come close or are threatening. Yeah, I'm asking if there's anything else that he would like to say. No, he's enjoying the question, so he's asking me to go back to the questions now. Let's see here. Did anyone inspire him? That was another part of that childhood question. He's saying yes, there were many people in his life, more ordinary people, the salt of the earth type people. He's showing me a man who kind of like is like a steward or like a caretaker, not a janitor, but more of like, more of the like old school groundskeeper slash, not a housekeeper, but like a grounds manager type person. He has a lot of keys and he's very handy and he runs around and he knows the ins and outs of the property and Leonardo's family's home. And he always admired that man. And he was a very ordinary man, kind of out of the limelight. There was no one super famous that we would recognize that he really aspired or was inspired by. Aspired to, I guess, to be like, or inspired by. There were, later in life, there were many people that he respected and had like curiosity sparked by. But when he was growing up, especially he's saying in his formidable years, there were many people around him that were so kind and so dedicated and loving and gentle and encouraged him to be as he chose to be. And he really appreciated those people in his life, which I think we all need those kind of people there. Yeah. Okay, let's see now. That was a really good question. Has he reincarnated here since his experience as Leonardo da Vinci? He's saying yes. In several periods. He's saying so that would be the late 18th century, so late 1700s, also in the mid 1800s, so 19th century. He has also incarnated in the early 20th century, but he's saying that was a shorter life for him. It was quite a rough life, and he's highlighting the Great War, so World War I. He was around during that time period, and he's saying that was very difficult, but he was not a part of the fighting or anything, but he passed away from an illness, and he was a young boy when he was there, but he passed away and he was not really prepared to come back. He's saying he may in the future, or in our context, our future, come back on Earth. But for now, he is content to simply be as he is on the other side. Interesting. Okay. I'm asking, what did he do in those other two tours? Maybe I'm asking him how many lifetimes. He's just giving me time periods, so I'm going to ask him, what did he do in the late 1700s or 18th century? Um, 1700s, he's showing just a lot of ocean, like he was living on a ship, or like a Navy type person, or a merchant. I'm asking him to fine tune it. He's circling the word merchant. He was a merchant, just someone who was a worker, provided for his family, had kind of a thrill, he's showing kind of more of an adventurous streak in his personality in that time period. He traveled a lot of his life. Most of his life he traveled. Okay, that's pretty cool. And now I'm going to ask him about the 19th century, so the 1800s. He went back to art at that time, though he wasn't very famous. Not his Leonardo da Vinci level of fame, or he's saying prestige, but he had a great time exploring different mediums, modalities of expression, and he was good at it, but he never really rose to kind of the acclaim that he had before. But he was okay with that. He just wanted to create. He just wanted to be again in that flow. So that was his purpose in that experience, and he really enjoyed that time. Okay, that's pretty cool. This is a great question, Jim. Was Leonardo da Vinci aware of and or in contact with non-physical beings during his lifetime? He's kind of chuckling at that, Jim. He's saying yes. While he was in his creative flow, while he was observing, while he was creating, he often felt the presence of many beings around him. He understood that there were forces that he maybe couldn't see with his naked eye, but he certainly felt them. He certainly felt connected to spirit. He certainly felt that there was a presence there, and that often really impacted his work. He says it helped kind of put him in this space, almost like a meditative space, where he was kind of he's like kind of looking down at looking down at himself and watching himself work, and he can see all these beings around him, and he did definitely have encounters, and that was expressed in some of his work, as well as just in his life. He kept it quite quiet because of he's saying, religious fervor of the time. If he were to explore some of the topics that he was interested in or wanting to pursue, he may not have had as easy as a life that he had, even though he didn't have like a super easy life. He was very focused, and he threw himself into his work, but he did get a lot of the support that he needed from his patronages, I guess, his patrons, I should say, his patrons, people paying for his work or supporting him while he conducts his work. That was very helpful for him. Yeah, but I'm asking if he feels like, or if he now understands who was around him. He's saying, oh yes, now he sees, and he works with many of the people that were the beings that were with him in his lifetime. So he's saying his guardian angels, his team. There are many galactic beings that came into his life as well. He's saying, again, it's all about the energy. He really was impacted by experiencing the different energies around him, and he knew it in his heart that he was not alone. Yeah. Great question, Jim. Thank you. This is a good question, too. Since he was so fascinated so much with birds and flying, has Leonardo ever incarnated as an avian, or an avian being? He's saying yes, many times. He's saying good eye on that. Good question. He's saying he definitely has had many blue avian and avian being experiences. He's saying other avian beings as well. And he knows that avian energy that he had before. So his own starseed experiences did actually quite impact him as a human here on Earth. He's saying his energy, he had a lot of trouble sleeping and staying grounded. And it was partly due to his experiences as an avian being. And I know several blue avian starseed beings, starseed people who were blue avians before, who also expressed that they have a lot of problems sleeping, at least in the normal, sleeping kind of patterns that we determine we should be doing. Many of them that I've encountered say, yeah, like sleeping, being really grounded is super hard to maintain because of their frequency and just the energy that's around them and their experiences here. He's saying, yeah, that was definitely an impact. Yeah, cool question. Lisa is saying that her mom would say she had the Mona Lisa smile when she got in trouble. Leonardo is just chuckling at that, and he's saying, I bet you did, Lisa. I bet you did. And he's saying, the Mona Lisa is such a fascinating snapshot into the imagination. It was based on a real person, but the energy, the small facial cues that we are able to pick up on, and we have become fascinated by that little smirk that she has. He was so enchanted with that energy that he was very pleased with the work. He enjoyed the work very much. And he's very happy to see that so many other people derive joy from that painting, that image alone. Yeah, he's just saying he's very happy with the work. And if you had anything like the Mona Lisa smile, you were a trickster, Lisa. He's kind of chuckling at that. Yeah, so he did encounter otherworldly entities, definitely. Let's see. Okay, so what was his favorite piece of, I guess, artwork? He's saying he enjoyed every piece that he did. Many of them were never for him to claim as his own. He was paid to do the work, like commissioned, or he had a patronage or a patron to commission his work. So he never fully embraced the artwork as something that he should keep, I guess. And that's not really getting to the question, but it just makes me feel like he didn't really latch on to a lot of the work because he was in it. It was more of the experience for him than the outcome. He really enjoyed the composition and the practice, the action of painting, the action of creating that piece, all of his pieces. So he really enjoyed that process itself, and that's what he really loved. That was his favorite part of it. But he's kind of making me feel like the Mona Lisa did have kind of a spark that he really enjoyed, and he felt it was very like a playful piece, and he did really enjoy it, even though it wasn't really for him to keep or claim so much as that was his favorite. He did really enjoy it. He enjoyed all the work he did, but I'm asking him if he had to pick one painting that he could have for himself and he could keep, what painting would that be? Okay, he's showing me not any of his famous works, but he's showing me like some of his work from when he was really young. And he loved that energy from like it's almost like refrigerator art kind of vibe is what he's showing me. Like he would draw a lot, and he liked the practice of it, and he liked the evolution of the work that he did. So he's not committing to a favorite piece of really famous art. Yeah, okay. Question here about the Mona Lisa. Is there any secret hidden in the Mona Lisa painting? Something we haven't discovered yet? He's saying, um, he's saying there is a secret within the painting, but it is not of the painting. It's not of his intention himself. The secret is what we derive from the painting. And it's almost, he's saying it's almost as if it's a secret within ourselves. So he's not alluding to any actual like cryptic message or any secret that is layered within the paint or layered in the background or within her visage, you know, her portrait in the foreground. He's just kind of alluding to that little spark of that smirk, that smile. That, you know, it's a standalone painting because it sparks so much in people, and he's saying that's the secret. It's not what you would like to hear, I'm sure, but he's saying that that's much more enjoyable for him to derive that connection across time through this. He's saying this is almost like a portal. He is able to impact so many people in the world through this one image. And he's saying that, and he's created many images, so he's just kind of in awe of that a little bit. But he's saying that the secret is really within each of us, what that spark is that we get from connecting to that energy and that work that he did. Really fascinating. Very fascinating. Okay, let's see. Where did Leonardo go in his 2-year absence, and what did he discover in the cave? I don't know anything about that, so I'm curious. Okay, he's saying he's not making me feel like he went very far in the 2 years that there was, I guess, an absence of his presence. It's almost as if he's hiding in plain sight. Like he was around, but he just wasn't, not that he wasn't observed or connected with or spoken to, but he's saying like he just kind of laid low. And I have no idea what the story is, or maybe, you know, what people speculate about that period in his life. But he's saying really there wasn't as much mystery as people like to think. He was just working. He was off on his own. It makes me feel like he's making me feel like he had a space where it was like a workshop, and he just kind of retreated to his workshop and stepped out of society, basically. And he just kind of did his own thing for a little bit. Almost, he's saying he became like a hermit, like, you know, those people who go up into the woods and they live off the land and they don't really engage in society due to principle or due to maybe a religious pursuit of knowledge or contentment. He's saying, though, he just retreated. He needed that time for himself. And he needed that time to explore work. And he's saying the cave. What did he discover in the cave is the question. Many truths about himself. Many truths about... he's kind of like alluding to like universal truth, universal oneness, love and light. It makes me feel like he was kind of on his own little spiritual mission, and he did some work, and he had his time, and he came out of it the other side a different person. So I'm really fascinated about this. So I'm going to look it up after. I want to see what people were talking about. But he's making me feel like this, and he's saying this was not. He was not. It wasn't as much of a mystery, and of course he would think that because he was there in the experience. But some people kind of misconstrued his retreat from society as something maybe a little bit more magical or majestic, bigger than what it is or what it was. But he's highlighting that he encouraged that talk. He encouraged that mystique about his own personality or reputation. It helped him hold people distant, kind of kept himself removed, and kept him in that space of constant pursuit of his creations. And it kind of allowed him to be in that space. So he embraced it, and he maybe embellished it a little bit. He's saying he might have helped it flourish sometimes, which is really fascinating. Could see why, someone who's their passion, their joy, their happy place, so to speak, is where they're in this space of creation. And when you're holding people back, or when you're able to kind of disconnect yourself, it maybe is just easier to be in that space in a more constant flow. So yeah. Okay. That's a really good question. Can I call on you to help get my passion back in painting? I love abstract art. That's a great question, Lisa. Can Lisa call on you, Leonardo? He's saying, of course you can, my dear. Anyone who wishes to connect with my energy is free to do so. You can join me in my workshop. You can set intentions to visit, set intentions to participate in my work, or invite me into your own space. He's highlighting that it doesn't have to be anything grand or anything that is he's kind of making me feel like it doesn't have to be a fancy church. It doesn't have to be this formal structure or this space where maybe kind of, this grandiose expression of creativity. It can be in the small moments. He actually prefers that. So wherever you are creating, wherever you are inspired, whether you're out in nature, in your own little workshop, in the middle of your living room, if you're sitting there and you're creating and you want him to come in and connect with you, he's ready to do so. And he's highlighting too that each of us have our own divine spark. We're all connected to source, love and light, God, him or herself. And in that flow of that energy within our own divine spark, we have our own expression, and embracing that expression. And Lisa, you mentioned you love abstract art. That's beautiful. In abstract art, there's so much movement, and he's highlighting movement of color, movement of emotion, movement of energy. And so he really would love to work with you on your art pieces. He's also highlighting that there are others who maybe wish to connect to him that want to focus more on the more classical, as we know it now, the classical art techniques, and that's totally okay. He'd love to participate in that as well. And he's also showing, he's kind of showing, he would also love to come in. He's mentioning baking again. I don't know if he was a baker, if he was interested in cooking, or if he just really enjoyed food. I'm asking him. He said all of the above. He loved the almost alchemical formations of foodstuffs, is what he's saying. But he would love to connect with people who also want to create, foods, baking, cooking, any sort of creation would be fun for him to participate in. And he's showing himself leaning over like some freshly baked bread, and he's just kind of like wafting the smell into his face. So if you're prompted, or if you feel inspired to go and bake some bread or some nice cookies, feel free to call him in, and I'm sure he'd be happy to share in the experience with you. He's saying, yes, I definitely would. And yeah, he's just really highlighting that being ourselves, allowing ourselves to express in however way we need to, is ultimately going to bring us in the highest alignment. And he really encourages and supports all of us in our pursuits. And yeah, he is very, very happy to come in. Oh my gosh, Lisa. Lisa Sosa is decorating cookies as she's listening to this. Oh my gosh. he's kind of clapping his hands. He's very happy about that. And yeah, he's just saying, and with that, he's kind of tipping his hat a little bit. He's kind of stepping back a bit. So whew, I'm definitely feeling a lightening of the energy off of my shoulders and off of my crown and my head. It feels definitely lighter as he steps back. But that was really fun, guys. Thank you so much for the amazing questions. Thank you to Leonardo for joining us and for connecting with us and allowing us to ask all these questions about his experience. Again, like I was saying in the very beginning, I just love his energy, and I was always so fascinated. I'm still fascinated with his work, and I'm just now really, I think, more inspired to go and look at his work again and kind of revisit and think about what he has said about energy and about creation and about observing nature and being in connection with everything that's around us. So I hope this has also inspired you to go and create, or look at creations, go look at some art, go online and do a free museum tour if you can, or go and look up your favorite Leonardo da Vinci's work. And yeah, I think with that, I'm going to leave you guys to it. I hope you have a great day. And I'm so happy, Lisa. She just said she felt so uplifted. I hope you have a great evening. And I am going to be coming on live early next week on Monday with Beth Odom. She's a medium that we are going to be meeting or sitting down and channeling Jesus. And I'm really, really excited to be channeling him. I actually have not channeled him solely, just him on my in any sort of video before. So it's definitely way overdue, and I'm super excited to be able to channel him with Beth. She's a great medium, and it's going to be a really fun time. So we're going to be here live on the group wall at 6:30 on Monday, and I'm just really, really excited. And I hope you all have a good one. Talk to you later now. Bye.